Pacifidlog Town, what a beautiful place. I've gotta get out of here! Pacifidlog Town, a memorable little place in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald's Hoenn region that simultaneously has a lot going on and nothing happening at all. So this is a place located between routes 131 and 132 in the ocean. While it has a cool and unique look that gives it a certain charm, you don't even need to visit it in order to complete the main story of the game. Obviously, you will need to make your way here if you want to do everything possible, but in the original Ruby and Sapphire version, there's no actual story significance. In Pokemon Emerald version, you do need to visit Sky Pillar in order to tell Rayquaza about the big kaiju fight going on in Sootopolis City, and that is located not too far from Pacifidlog Town, so it would be beneficial to stop by beforehand, so that you could just easily fly there and reach Sky Pillar, but aside from that, there is really nothing. So I'm not saying that this town has no redeeming qualities, in fact it's honestly one of the best places in the entire region, but I just find it so funny that if you're speedrunning from intro to credits, this is the one town you're better off never going to. But the concept of Pacifidlog Town is so amazing, a collection of little houses built in the middle of the ocean with wooden planks connecting all of them. Having an official Pokemon Center in the middle is actually the biggest surprise here. I would have expected like a small local facility for healing your Pokemon, but they were able to get the construction crew out here, and that's probably for the better. The entire town is built by a coral reef. In fact, one NPC inside the Pokemon Center tells you that it's straight up built on top of a colony of Corsola. This corresponds to the silver Pokédex entry that says, in a South Sea nation, the people live in communities that are built on groups of these Pokemon. I just think it's really cool how all of that is able to come together. Another NPC says that the history of a town goes back to a group of people who lived on boats but eventually settled down. Supposedly they lived on boats because they were looking for something, and that is one of the many pieces of information that hints to something even deeper. But I just love the overall look and vibes of this place. Back when I made my video about Delmise, I went on to gush about the Seafolk Village and said that it was a cool location unlike anything else we had seen in Pokemon, to which a decent amount of comments accused me of forgetting about Pacifidlog Town, and like, buddy, I could never forget. These are two completely different places. One of them is a dock connecting to an entire island where boats come and go. The other is a permanent community on the reefs. Though Pacifidlog Town is great in how it's able to be just another example of people building their settlements right into the natural environments. That is literally almost every place in the Hoenn region, and I know I always bring it up, but it continues to be true, so I don't think I'll ever stop. What I think really makes Pacifidlog Town so special is that because you aren't immediately required to go here, if you do find it on your own, it feels like the discovery of a lifetime. Like, what do you mean there's a whole town here? I had no idea. And talking to all the inhabitants here, we find a tightly knit group of people, most of whom were born here and rarely ever leave. But talking to them will also reveal a bunch of secrets, giving you hints to some of the many mysteries that still await you in the Hoenn region. In one house, you'll find two old men both talking about Mirage Island. One of them tells you the basics and wonders if it's only accessible due to weather conditions apparently hiding it, or if it actually is appearing and disappearing. Meanwhile, the other one is looking out the window and will be your indicator as to whether or not Mirage Island is accessible. Now, Mirage Island is another can of worms all on its own, and I don't want to try going there today, especially because there honestly isn't all that much to do there. But it is one of the many places that takes advantage of the random numbers generated every day when you play these games, which can make some really cool experiences and contribute to a lot of the mystery behind the Hoenn region. Inside another house, we'll get some teases of the Regi trio, with one man telling you about 3 Pokemon representing the power of rock, ice, and steel. They're hidden away inside of caverns according to a story he was told as a kid. And then his girlfriend gives another hint to the dots needed in order to solve the puzzles, saying it's something that her grandfather used to say, but she doesn't know what it means. Again, these are great little pieces of information that really get you thinking and are meant to set up other legendary Pokemon no one has seen in a long time. A way of storytelling where more clues are revealed the more you explore. Though I won't dive into the Regi Pokemon too much at the moment, mostly because I already did, but if you think that video deserves a remake, then let me know. And the last piece of lore I want to touch on in the same vein is the mother in the far left house who tells you about a big flying Pokemon, which we know is Rayquaza. The big hint she gives here is that she wonders if it has to stop somewhere to rest. Obviously a way to make the player look for Sky Pillar, which again is pretty conveniently close by. A cool way of telling you what to look for in the post-game if you're playing Ruby and Sapphire, but could be very helpful if you end up visiting here during the course of Pokemon Emerald. So just by going to one little town off the beaten path, you have 3 missions ahead of you. Dude, the exploration in these games is just so good. But anyway, her son also asks you where you're from, and your only options are yes or no. What is going on here? There's an NPC trade in one of the houses near the south with a woman who tells you that living so far away from the mainland, there are many Pokemon she isn't able to catch. So she asked if you have a Blossom to trade for her Corsola. This actually isn't that good of a trade for us because obtaining a Blossom would require us to use up a Sunstone in order to evolve a Gloom, and Corsola can just be found in the wild around the town. So unless you want it with the traded Pokemon experience bonus, this trade is purely for the sake of flavor. You have the power to make this woman's dreams come true because you have magical protagonist powers. I mean, look at the mail Corsola is holding. She's been thinking about this moment for a long time. Though I do love how this whole town just becomes a definitive Corsola location. I mean, it was a Generation 2 Pokemon and it wasn't like too rare or anything. Not like some of the other Gen 2 Pokemon that felt misplaced in their debut or shine brighter in future generations, making you think they were actually from those games. But with a more tropical climate and region, it fits a lot better in Hoenn. And lastly, we can find the brother of a Pokemon fan club president who's apparently on vacation here with his 2 Pokemon. For a town so small and isolated, it doesn't really feel like a vacation kind of place, but sure, I guess. Cool that there's a connection to a character in Slateport City, as these 2 places are also connected by a single route. But all the currents between here and there and the fact that he made it to Pacifidlog before the SS Aqua was completed, that means he had to go all the way around to get here. But at least he gives you the TM for either return or frustration, some very useful normal type moves. One of his Azurill is happy and the other is angry, a pretty cool reference to the fact that they're baby Pokemon that evolve through friendship, and they both reflect either return or frustration. But that's about all there is in this quaint little town. Even though it's actually pretty important to complete the gameplay experience of Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, there are a few things that make it a bit incomplete. There's the issue of the music. While it isn't bad, it is reused from Lily Cove City. A few other places in the Generation 3 games are like this, and while I can excuse it back then with the hardware limitations, especially for a small town like this, I am sad that it never got a unique theme in the remakes. The music here is perfect for a big, sophisticated city like Lily Cove, but not for the quiet and mysterious Pacifidlog. And over in the anime, while the main cast did go there for a Pokemon contest, it was totally different from the video game version, losing what made it special. It does appear in the manga with a more accurate style and theming, which I appreciate, but I still haven't gotten that far in the manga. Let's get to 100k subs and maybe I can find more time to do that. But for the most part, that's about all there is to say about Pacifidlog Town. It was always one of my favorite places to visit, and like I said, I love how it serves as a central location to the deeper legend and mysteries hidden throughout the Hoenn region. Aside from what we just cover in the main story, it reveals an even deeper history waiting to be uncovered. Both the town and its people almost feel like they've been forgotten by the rest of the region, as well as whatever stories they pass down, and so it gives even more importance to the player character in making their way here to discover what's been lost. So let me know what you think about this town and what it was like when you first found it by surfing the open seas. Anyway, I should get back to looking for more clues. You never know what else might be out there. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including the Great Gators, Air is Away, ELR27, DeAndre, Zanaido, Jamarcus Nixon, Frix, Boss Dragon, Justin Dowes, Ben's Quizem, Mazhar Siddiqui, Cemetery Hill, Pastel Blood, Cosmo Zero, Mr. Saturn, Rainfrux, Cheez-It62, Alex Switch, Shiny Hunter, Michael Snyder, Lockadox, GatorKid509, TF, Mathiclog947, Taijirai, Justin R, Phantom, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter as well for more memes. Anyway, this is GatorX, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.
Momentum is building with more ways to collect, trade, and play. Plus, holographic basic energy cards and select booster packs for supercharged power. Pokemon trading card game EX Emerald, bursting with energy. Booster packs sold separately.